Welcome to The Explainer. This is where we take big, complex topics and, well, we explain them using some straightforward slides. Wow, okay, let's just start with that. AI is creating superhumans, and that's going to let 1% of people own 99% of the future's wealth. I mean, that is a pretty heavy statement, right? It comes from Dr. Qian, who used to be the managing director for Google in Taiwan. So, what does he mean by superhumans? And more importantly, what does this actually mean for companies, for careers, for all of us? Okay, so to really get to the bottom of this superhuman idea, we have to start where the conversation about AI and work always seems to start, with this one big nagging fear. You know the one I'm talking about. Is AI coming for my job? I mean, we've all seen those scary headlines, right? The robots are here to take over. But is that really the full picture? Let's look at what the actual numbers are telling us. So check this out. The World Economic Forum looked ahead to 2030, and yeah, they see about 92 million jobs at risk. That's a huge number. But look at the other side. They're forecasting 170 million new jobs being created. So on paper, it's a net gain, which sounds great. But here's the catch, and this is the most important part of this whole thing. That risk, it isn't spread out evenly. It's more like a precision strike. Yeah, this isn't some random hurricane hitting the whole job market at once. Think of it more like a targeted earthquake right at the base of the traditional corporate pyramid, and it's about to flip the entire thing upside down. So if the base of the pyramid is cracking, who's standing there? Well, the research is pretty clear. It's the junior level knowledge workers. The people whose skills are fresh from college, learned from textbooks. And here's the brutal logic. Why would a company hire someone who just read the books when AI has already read all the books? I mean, literally all of them. And this creates a huge, huge problem for a whole generation of people just trying to start their careers. Dr. Chien has a pretty sobering name for them. He calls them the lost generation. We're talking about recent grads, early career professionals. They're finding that the front door to the corporate world, the one they were promised would be open, is suddenly locked. And if you want to see this in action, look no further than the big tech companies. This slide tells the whole story. They're laying off people with less than 3 years of experience, but at the same time, they're aggressively hiring senior folks with 8+ years under their belt. They're not just cutting costs, they're strategically swapping out book smarts for real-world experience. So why? Why is this massive swap happening? What's the engine behind this whole pyramid flipping over? Well, it all comes down to one thing. For someone with years of experience, AI isn't just another tool. It's like a superpower. It's a force multiplier on an exponential scale. Let me give you a real-world example of this. Dr. Chan talked to this top engineer at Google. At the start of the year, this engineer started using AI in his workflow, and he said it made him 10x more productive. 10 times. I mean, that alone is a total game changer, right? But hold on, because here's where the story gets absolutely insane. The thing about AI is it gets smarter every single day. So 9 months later, not even a full year, that same engineer's productivity wasn't 10x anymore. It was 100x. 100 times. Just let that sink in. One person is now doing the work of an entire 100-person team. When you have productivity gains like that, it doesn't just change the game. It throws the whole rulebook out the window. It fundamentally redefines what a valuable employee even is and what kind of skills companies are desperately searching for. For years, probably for our entire careers, the gold standard was being what's called T-shaped talent, right? You had a broad set of general skills, that's the top of the T, and then you had one area where you went super deep, your one specialty. You were the marketing guy or the database expert. Well, that model is officially outdated. The new ideal, the one built for this AI era, is called pie-shaped talent. You see the difference? It looks like the symbol for pie. You've still got that broad knowledge base, but now instead of one deep leg, you need two. Having two deep specialties gives you way more stability and, crucially, it lets you see connections between different fields. That's the skill you need to really leverage AI. Let's make this real with a programmer. In the old days, you just had to be a great coder. That was your one job. But to be a pie-shaped programmer today, you can't just write the code. You also have to understand the upstream, thinking like a product manager to define what needs to be built. And you have to understand the downstream, thinking like a QA engineer to test what you've built. You own the whole process, end to end. So, if the building blocks, the individual employees, are changing this dramatically, it only makes sense that the entire building is going to change too. We're not just talking about new job titles here. We're talking about a complete reinvention of what a team even is. Think about a typical team from like 5 years ago. It was a pyramid, right? You had a project manager at the top, a senior analyst, a junior analyst, maybe an assistant. It was this hierarchy of humans, each with a different level of experience. Okay, now look at the team of the future. The whole structure is different. It's what's being called a human AI team. That human pyramid is gone. Instead, you have just one, super experienced human leader, that pie-shaped person we talked about. And what are they leading? A team of 1,000 or more AI agents, each one acting as a hyper-specialized, tireless junior employee. So let's take this to its logical conclusion. What happens when you push this model to its absolute limit? When one person, supercharged by AI, can do the work of not just a team, but an entire department or even a small company? Well, you get this, the rise of the one-person enterprise. And this isn't some far-off sci-fi concept. The OECD is projecting that we're going to see 3 million new one-person companies pop up in just the next 2 to 3 years. That's one individual armed with the right AI tools who can go head-to-head with a traditional small business. And that leaves us with one final, mind-bending question to chew on. In a world where one person can literally do the work of an entire company, what does the word company even mean anymore?